Why don't you describe what you do, the trade you're in?
So for for a living, I work in construction. I work as a pipe fitter or a steam fitter. It's pretty much the same thing. Uh, how that really what that is that powerhouses, power plants, stuff like that is where you're like, oh, your steam really comes into play as a steam fitter, and that's what we as steam fitters did was throw pipe or put pipe together, work with boiler systems to make electricity and things like that. But not only does it apply to steam uh, applications, but also applies to like copper, anything with anything related to piping, hydronic systems, hot water, chilled water, anything related to pipe is what we work on.
Laying pipe.
Yeah, laying pipe. I like that. I like that. You know a little bit there. Yeah, laying pipe.
All right, so you're laying some pipe.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to learn the trade?
Just the basics would be. I just got done with my 5-year apprenticeship.
Okay.
Okay.
So it takes 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah,
And this is like, when you're going through these 5 years, you're on the job learning, but you're also taking classes and studying stuff too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a combination of go to work, learning on the job, and also being in class. And basically, your 5 years is basically your basics to your career. So you're learning the math, you're learning the basic pipes and things like that, and all that. After 5 years, you're pretty much getting your basic knowledge, and then your reality is that your career actually starts right there going forward. You don't stop learning, and you keep on learning, keep asking questions, so it's an ongoing process, but you also produce skills like welding, cutting and measuring pipes. So math is something that never goes away. That is actually the one true thing that lasts since kindergarten. Well, math, your numbers, you're always going to have to use it.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, so.
How many, as far as the trades go, provide some examples of trades that there
Trades?
are.
So you got a steam fitter, you got a plumber, which are plumbers deal with wastewater and things like that. So we are different. Then you got electricians, you got cement masons, you got bricklayers, you got road construction, which do asphalt and laying cement. So there's there's a whole bunch. Any cooking, being a chef is also a trade. It's not construction; it's kind of health related. So there's a lot. There's many.
The trade is like a field of
It's
work and study. And,
basically, a trade is a profession with skill.
Okay.
So a lawyer, doctor, that's an education. It's not really the skill, but you're going to get the knowledge. Here you go to a trade, you're getting a skill and you're getting the knowledge.
Yeah.
So because you have to produce your.
So of these trades, you said 5 years apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the most out of the trades? Yeah, like my little brother is electricity. I think that was like 2 or 3.
I think, to my knowledge, that for some reason right now I'm thinking that's average. Right now I believe that's average. 5 years is like average.
Okay.
I think if you're looking to 3 or 4 years, that's probably on the short side.
Okay.
So I think if you, let's say if actually I think like cosmetology or something. I think if cosmetology was an apprenticeship, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's like 2.5 years or 3 or something like that.
Okay.
So, but I think 5 years is average. Okay. To my knowledge.
So what does your typical day look like?
My typical day depends if I'm working in the field or if I'm working in the shop. I spent all 5 years. Well, for me it was like about 6 because of layoff time. So sometimes when it gets slow, then they put your apprenticeship on hold, so that it gives you allotted 5 years. A typical day is doing layouts for where you're looking at where you gotta see where your pipe is going, do your layouts, measurements, and things like that. So it might be a couple days worth of that, and then you're doing your pipe fabrication, which is you're actually cutting and welding pipe or screwing pipe together using torches, welders, threaders. That's what my usual day is consists of.
Do you spend more time prepping, or
Yeah,
actually? Okay.
more we spend a lot of time. I guess it depends on the type of process that you're using too. You spend a lot of time doing layouts. Measure twice, cut once. You're gonna hear that a lot in any trade. Any trade, guaranteed. That's the number one rule of thumb is measure twice, cut once.
Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, you won't ever hear it enough. Never. Just about every person would probably tell you they made a mistake doing that. In measurement or something. But two, it's also always admit to your mistakes, like anything else. But there's a lot of time gets spent on layouts. Sometimes you might have somebody who's designated to doing layouts, and then like on my last job, my foreman did a lot of the layouts, and then he would order prefabbed pieces to come down to the job site. Okay. So a lot of time gets spent on that.
So the places you're working at, are they industrial? Are they residential?
For me, it's always been industrial and commercial. Mostly industrial type places, factories, like Nestle's or Case, New Holland plant. I haven't worked there as a fitter, but that's an example of like places to work at, like car factories and things like that. All industrial places is usually what I've been doing. So.
Okay. So on the job, what is it like when you're working with others? Are you guys playing music in the background? Are you like?
Yeah, it depends on the job site. Depends because of safety, they usually don't. Some of them are picky about playing music. Some of them are not. You get a lot of because you can work with like 100 guys on a job site or a couple hundred.
Really?
Yeah. You can work with a couple hundred guys on a job site. So you get a lot of different people, a lot of different
opinions of music.
Yeah, lots of opinions. Oh, I can tell you, I can tell you a thing or two. Well, it would be more than a thing. It would be like a page or two. But the interactions between guys and stuff, you're gonna have guys you're gonna like and get along with. You're gonna have guys that you ain't gonna like and not get along with. But it's one of those things. Man up and just work with it. Do your job. Learn how to get along with people. It's reality. You gotta and there are some jobs where you can have like 14,000 people on it. Go down to like American Steel or U.S. Steel down in Indiana. Mm-hmm. Gary, Indiana. You go down to the oil rigs or the gas production down in it's right down there by Gary. It's the next city over. That can have 14,000 people on it. Yeah.
So you're just all working at once.
So when you get jobs like that big, 3 shifts, 24/7. Yeah. So like when you say like people getting laid off, when things get slow, then it's like you're laying off 2,000 people in a day.
Yeah.
So that's
so the layoffs. When you mentioned layoffs earlier, it's essentially like there's not a job right now per se.
Yeah, so it's like
but then one might come up and then you're like back up again. It's not like a.
It's
like an in and out type of thing, like a temporary.
So it's kind of like temporary and seasonal. It can based on quite a few different factors. A common one it would be seasonal. It's kind of like let's say road construction. Most of the time, the guys are going to be working 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week during the summer, and then they'll probably only cut down to like maybe 6 or 8, or maybe take a month off or lay off or something. Hey, we're slow right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna wait until things pick up. I'll bring you back. That's the nature of the trade.
So right now it's a little slow. Winter.
Just little. I was off for 2 months, so when I came down, during the week, usually I usually don't take off, but usually I try to plan things for when I get laid off. So it's not really a bad thing, like
Yeah.
some people think. It can be a good thing. I worked for a year and a half. I only took, I did take like a week or 2 weeks off, I think, in like 3 years. I worked for
Okay.
3 years. I only had like 2 weeks off in 3 years. So, yeah, no, it's actually a decent,
Yeah.
I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's good because it gives me time to rest,
To rest.
to rest, to hang out,
So is it pretty physical on your body then?
Yes. It's physical, intense. Being a pipe fitter is pretty intense. You do have tools and everything, but just long hours and crawling around, and you can, depend on where the job is and everything. It's a pretty physical, demanding type of job, and always dealing with heavy things.
Yeah, you gotta be physically tough.
Physically tough.
Physically tough, so much so that you don't have to wear a coat when you're recording a conversation.
It's actually
in like 30 degrees.
It's actually like a state of mind too.